How does it feel to finally be sitting here overlooking the entirety of Floyd Stadium?
Excited. Happy for our student athletes, happy for MTSU football, Blue Raider Nation. I think this is a jewelry box piece to our football stadium. This place has been a long time coming. I think if I'm remembering correctly, I remember in 2016, it being announced, and here we are. This has come to fruition, right? I mean, I was at Vanderbilt looking, and now I'm actually sitting in this facility. It's a beautiful facility that meets the standards and expectations of what a Division I football program should have. So, extremely excited.
It's a full circle moment for you. And I know over the course of periods of time that you've really talked about the importance of recovery and rehab, especially for these young athletes. Talk to me about a bit of the things that you wanted to make sure that were installed in SAPC to make sure that happens.
Yes, so the SAPC, this building had probably 90% of what it needed, but when we talked about recovery, there was a thought about a barbershop, right? That went by the wayside. When we talked about this idea of what we needed to do in the players' lounge, we went more towards this idea of recovery with being able to do compression as well as utilizing zero gravity chairs, right? So I think everything that we did in terms of like second and third level additions that finished that last 10% were about the student athlete and being able to recover. It's so important in this landscape, but we needed to make sure that it touched it. It made no sense to build a building that had everything but these things when we were capable of doing so much more, and the university knocked it out the park.
You've been in the coaching industry for 30 years now. How have you seen, like what we keep saying, the rehab recovery aspect of things grow over time?
Well, it's changed, right? Because our athletes, like when I was in college, it was a little different. You went home and worked out, or you got a summer job, whether you worked a job, or in and around your institution, or you went home, you had modified workouts that you had to take with you, and then you came back, you had a conditioning test. Our student athletes work out year round, and they're generally right where we are. So it's important that since the work is so year-long intensive, that the recovery is year-long intensive for these student athletes, and to be able to have like a space that sort of meets how we work out, and it wasn't just the recovery; it's the strength and conditioning part of it. I mean, when you see our weight room may be one of the best, not only in Conference USA but in the Group of Five. When you look at it, it's spectacular. I'm sure you'll see it later, but it takes us to a place that we've never been, to take us to a place where we're trying to go, right? So these things, I think, are the importance of how we needed to fill this space, knowing that our student athletes train all year round.
The necessary equipment is here, but also the necessary space is here, including distinct position rooms and even meeting rooms for your defense and offensive staff. Very vital, and what you're mentioning as well, your equipment rooms. How important is that to make sure that these players and your staff are connecting on the field and off the field?
Well, we finally have a home, right? It's been a little disjointed in terms of our meeting spaces, efficiency of meetings, several meeting times, conflict meetings, and having to do it in a space where we only had one or possibly two elevator banks, which depending on what times we were up and down, man, we couldn't necessarily make our time work, right? But we did, and we got through it. Now, what we're talking about is something that's totally different. It gives meeting room space for every coach, for both offensive and defensive units. It meets not only the standards and expectations from our coordinators, offense, defense, and special teams, but even our support staff. I mean, all these things are important in the landscape of college athletics, especially college football now. Okay, our staffs are a little bigger, but the space is needed and necessary, and the egress of our student athletes around the facility, that's uber important. What they did in building this facility was look at, how we were coming, going, how we needed to get up and down, and even the space. Our team room is ginormous, right? It seats 160 folks, and it's as good as I've been around. So I say we met the mark.
I know we talked about it in Frisco whenever me and you were having a conversation that you are also going to love this building because you get to connect with the players one-on-one. I know in the other space, it's hard for you to meet with everyone or to see everyone, but now it's in one house, in one unit, for you to continue to build those relationships that will reflect onto the field.
Right. I think this is a culture builder, right? Because we do get a chance to start as a team and then go from team to units. But for me, for the sake of time and for the sake of teaching purposes, I had to cut time short from my messaging to our student athletes. But now to be in this space where they finally have a home. I just saw our student athletes go through this space, and let me tell you something. I saw some guys, man, who almost had tears in their eyes because they now know, okay, where they're going to be. Okay, it's not a space, man, where they got to go in and out of. Do we set chairs up, break them down? This is where I'm going to be. That's important. Having a home is important. You feel loved, man, and you feel like this is family. This is a place where we want to be. And you know what? They're going to find meaningful connection in this space. So excited.
You also know the importance of this building being for all student athletes.
That's
You're
right.
really big on connecting your team with all the other teams on campus.
Yeah.
How impactful is this going to be for the many other teams that are going to be able to experience this?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about from the third floor down to the first floor, athletic training room, strength and conditioning, when we talk about nutrition, okay, in our nutrition bar and our nutrition area, we have so many spaces in this building that meet, okay, code for all of our student athletes. This isn't just a football facility, it's a student athletic performance center. So when we look at our cold tubs, hot tubs, our underwater treadmill, this is where all of our student athletes will come to sort of finish, certain parts of their rehab. This is where they'll come to get a snack, okay, or some nutrition, leaving an athletic training period or coming to an athletic training period. I think this place will still create connection for our student athletes. We had a small nutrition center over in the Murphy Center, which we'll still have, but now to have a place where they can get shakes, come over, have a massive space to actually work out as a team. Sometimes we had to split our teams, whether it was football, volleyball. I mean, we had to split our teams up for times just because we couldn't fit them into the space that we had. Now we can get entire teams into our weight room. So this is a proud moment for probably all of our athletics programs because it doesn't just encapsulate football. It brings everybody into the fold. So let's go blue.
And speaking of everybody, the game day experience on the third floor of the SRM Concrete Club, it's going to be huge for not just you all, but the community, the alumni that get to come back and experience a brand new game day experience filling the Floyd.
This place is different. I mean, this being a jewel box piece, like I said in the beginning, it's fantastic. But when you go up to the third floor to the SRM Concrete Club and you see the Uncle Nearest, lounge and bar like that's up there, when you see the seating and how it's laid out, when you see the lightning bolt, across the top, when you see the panoramic view of our stadium, we've got new goalposts in our stadium, and we have these lighting boards, man. We've got the jumbo. This is a different experience. In 2025, you want to have a ticket to come watch a football game here. We want to feel Floyd, but you're going to love the experience. It's going to be good from the time that you park your car to the time that you walk out of the stadium. It's going to be a different experience. So we invite you to come, enjoy Floyd Stadium. Let's go blue.
Last question. You've said this facility will be, if not one of the best in Conference USA. Do you think that still reigns true?
Oh, absolutely. This is a place, because when you go on the road, you're always looking, right? I mean, there's some facilities with their indoors that may be a little above, okay, because we don't have one yet, but that's coming. But when you talk about a freestanding facility that encapsulates, our football team, what it does for all of our other programs, what it is top to bottom in terms of strength and conditioning and recovery, it's second to none. So we're here, and this is going to pay dividends not only now but for future Blue Raiders. This pushes recruiting. It pushes every envelope and punches every ticket that we need in order to see ourselves being a front runner. Okay, not only in the Group of Five, but hopefully sometime punching our ticket to get into the college football playoff.
So yeah, obviously this was already in motion whenever you stepped into this role. But for you, there were some things that you wanted to make sure on your standpoint that were added or that you knew that the student athletes would really, really need. There's the red light, all that.
Yeah, the red light therapy was needed. We talked about compression. The underwater treadmill was already in place. I think this place was well thought out. I think there were small touches in rooms, some things that we talked about. We went through several iterations with Vicky, and the design team, and these people about space and what we wanted it to feel like, right? I think from person to person, maybe head coach to head coach, it looks a little different, but they were good at accommodating some of the things that we talked about. They made it work, and I think what you see is a collaboration that was in the making way before I got here, but something that sort of lent itself to becoming something extremely beautiful. This is a place that's unique, and it has all the pieces, whether we talk about, again, strength and conditioning, recovery, nutrition, meeting space, staff. We can get our whole athletic department staff in here. Even while our football staff would be in here, we can have a staff meeting, an all-staff meeting, and not miss a beat. This place is that good. So I was at Auburn when they were building that place, and when you talk to a couple of people who are now on our staff from Auburn, they talk about how the transitions in this place, are better than the transitions at Auburn. And I think that speaks highly of seeing something that was built and then being able to make some modifications and make it like your own. And this is unique to MTSU, but very sort of dynamic in terms of how it makes you feel when you walk into the building. When you walk into the building, you feel different. It feels like a jewel box, at the front, and it's like a great ice cream sandwich. Good from the first bite to the last.
Okay, the whole structure, I guess, yes, of the team meeting rooms and obviously the positioning of your coordinators and how that kind of all is entangled together.
Yeah, it sort of forms a T at the front of this deal, right? Head coach, sits in the middle, and then our staff meeting rooms are right down the middle, right? So you have offense and defensive staff meetings, but when you look at the staff itself, it starts with our offensive corner, our offensive coordinator on one end, our defensive coordinator on the other, and our staff members, our full-time coaches leaning in towards me, and then we have our critical support staff with Caitlin, chief of staff, and Dana sort of anchoring those things around me. But this place, again, the conception of it was boardroom-esque, but it gives you this family feel, because there's not a place in this building where our student athletes can't touch a coach, see somebody when they come into the building, and I think that's extremely important because they need touch points, which is cool. They want to see us, and we are accessible. So to have the structure of this building have our coordinators on each end as these guys come up, and they can come right down the middle and come straight into my office. I like that. That's cool. So it was well thought out. I think what we're doing here is different, and so I invite anybody who wants to come see it, come see it.